Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of validating, finding or testing the truth of something. Any factual evidence that helps to establish the truth of something. If you have any proof for what you say, now is the time to produce it. Printing, an impression made to check for errors. Read for errors. I should proofread my manuscripts. Activate by mixing with water and sometimes sugar or milk. Proof yeast. A formal series of statements showing that if one thing is true, something else necessarily follows from it. A measure of alcoholic strength expressed as an integer twice the percentage of alcohol present, by volume. A trial photographic print from a negative. Need to reach proper lightness. Proof dough. Make or take a proof of, such as a photographic negative, an etching, or typeset. Make resistant to harm. Proof the materials against shrinking in the dryer. Used in combination or as a suffix, able to withstand. Temptation proof. The act of validating, finding or testing the truth of something. Additional proof that something that was believed, some fact or hypothesis or theory, is correct. The act of validating, finding or testing the truth of something. The cognitive process of establishing a valid proof. Any factual evidence that helps to establish the truth of something. Printing, an impression made to check for errors. Printing, an impression made to check for errors. Read for errors. I should proofread my manuscripts. Not admitting of passage or capable of being affected. A material impervious to water. Not admitting of passage or capable of being affected. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. Something that is found. The findings in the gastrointestinal tract indicate that he died several hours after dinner. The decision of a court on issues of fact or law. The act of making up your mind about something. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. Satisfied with the panel's determination. The quality of being determined to do or achieve something, firmness of purpose. His determination showed in his every movement. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. The determination of molecular structures. Deciding or controlling something's outcome or nature. The determination of grammatical inflections. Your basis for belief or disbelief. Knowledge on which to base belief. A justification for something existing or happening. The enclosed land around a house or other building. A tract of land cleared for some special purposes, recreation or burial, etc. Dregs consisting of solid particles, especially of coffee, that form a residue. It is a Middle Eastern custom to read your future in your coffee grounds. Provide evidence for. Provide evidence for. Stand as proof of. Show by one's behavior, attitude, or external attributes. Give evidence. Your basis for belief or disbelief. Knowledge on which to base belief. The evidence that smoking causes lung cancer is very compelling. An indication that makes something evident. His trembling was evidence of his fear. Law. All the means by which any alleged matter of fact whose truth is investigated at judicial trial is established or disproved. A concavity in a surface produced by pressing. He left the impression of his fingers in the soft mud. A symbol that is the result of printing or engraving. An outward appearance. He made a good impression. A clear and telling mental image. The events left a permanent impression in his mind. All the copies of a work printed at one time. A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. His impression of her was favorable. An impressionistic portrayal of a person. He did a funny impression of a politician. Dentistry, an imprint of the teeth and gums in wax or plaster. The dentist took an impression for use in preparing an inlay. The act of pressing one thing on or into the surface of another. He watched the impression of the seal on the hot wax. Reproduction by applying ink to paper as for publication. All the copies of a work printed at one time. They ran off an initial printing of 2,000 copies. Text handwritten in the style of printed matter. The business of producing printed material for sale or distribution. Take charge of or deal with. Could you see about lunch? Make sense of. Assign a meaning to. What message do you see in this letter? Go to see a place, as for entertainment. We went to see the Eiffel Tower in the morning. See or watch. This program will be seen all over the world. Get to know or become aware of, usually accidentally. I see that you have been promoted. Date regularly. Have a steady relationship with. Did you know that she is seeing an older man? Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. I want to see whether she speaks French. Perceive or be contemporaneous with. You'll see a lot of cheating in this school. Undergo or live through a difficult experience. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Come together. I'll probably see you at the meeting. Accompany or escort. I'll see you to the door. Perceive, an idea or situation, mentally. Now I see. Imagine. Conceive of. See in one's mind. I can't see him on horseback. Observe, check out, and look over carefully or inspect. I must see your passport before you can enter the country. Deem to be. I don't see the situation quite as negatively as you do. Deliberate or decide. Let's see, which movie should we see tonight? Go to see for a social visit. I went to see my friend Mary the other day. Go to see for professional or business reasons. You should see a lawyer. Match or meet. Observe as if with an eye. Perceive by sight or have the power to perceive by sight. You have to be a good observer to see all the details. Receive as a specified guest. The doctor will see you now. See and understand, have a good eye. The artist must first learn to see. The seat within a bishop's diocese where his cathedral is located. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Establish after a calculation, investigation, experiment, survey, or study. Learn or discover with certainty. Cause to feel sure. Give reassurance to. The airline tried to reassure the customers that the planes were safe. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Make a promise or commitment. Make certain of. Inform positively and with certainty and confidence. Assure somebody of the truth of something with the intention of giving the listener confidence. I assured him that traveling to Cambodia was safe. An appraisal of the state of affairs. A check on its dependability under stress. Be verified or confirmed. Pass inspection. These stories don't check. Make cracks or chinks in. The heat checked the paint. A mark left after a small piece has been chopped or broken off of something. Examine so as to determine accuracy, quality, or condition. Check the brakes. Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. Lessen the intensity of. Temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. The state of inactivity following an interruption. Held them in check. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Slow the growth or development of. A written order directing a bank to pay money. He paid all his bills by check. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Mark into squares or draw squares on. Draw crossed lines on. Additional proof that something that was believed, some fact or hypothesis or theory, is correct. A mark indicating that something has been noted or completed, etc. As he called the roll, he put a check mark by each student's name. The act of inspecting or verifying. They made a check of their equipment. Something immaterial that interferes with or delays action or progress. The bill in a restaurant. He asked the waiter for the check. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Please check each name on the list. Be compatible, similar or consistent. Coincide in their characteristics. The handwriting checks with the signature on the check. Hold back, as of a danger or an enemy. Check the expansion or influence of. The act of restraining power or action or limiting excess. Abandon the intended prey, turn, and pursue an inferior prey. Arrest the motion of something abruptly. He checked the flow of water by shutting off the main valve. A textile pattern of squares or crossed lines, resembling a checkerboard. She wore a skirt with checks. Block or impede, a player from the opposing team, in ice hockey. Chess, a direct attack on an opponent's king. Consign for shipment on a vehicle. Check your luggage before boarding. Decline to initiate betting. Hand over something to somebody as for temporary safekeeping. Make an examination or investigation. Check into the rumor. Obstructing an opponent in ice hockey. Place into check. He checked my kings. Stop for a moment, as if out of uncertainty or caution. She checked for an instant and missed a step. Stop in a chase, especially when scent is lost. The dog checked. Verify by consulting a source or authority. Check the spelling of this word. Write out a check on a bank account. Handle and cause to function. Control the lever. Exercise authoritative control or power over. Control the budget. Lessen the intensity of. Temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. Control your anger. A standard against which other conditions can be compared in a scientific experiment. The control condition was inappropriate for the conclusions he wished to draw. Place under restrictions. Limit access to by law. This substance is controlled. Discipline in personal and social activities. She never lost control of herself. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Control the quality of the product. Maintain influence over others or oneself, skillfully, usually to one's advantage. She is a very controlling mother and doesn't let her children grow up. The state that exists when one person or group has power over another. Check or regulate. A scientific experiment, by conducting a parallel experiment or comparing with another standard. Are you controlling for the temperature? Great skillfulness and knowledge of some subject or activity. A mechanism that controls the operation of a machine. The speed controller on his turntable was not working properly. Have a firm understanding or knowledge of. Be on top of. Do you control these data? A relation of constraint of one entity, thing or person or group, by another. Measures for the control of disease. A spiritual agency that is assumed to assist the medium during a séance. Physiology, regulation or maintenance of a function or action or reflex, etc. The timing and control of his movements were unimpaired. Power to direct or determine. Under control. The activity of managing or exerting control over something. The control of the mob by the police was admirable. The economic policy of controlling or limiting or curbing prices or wages, etc. They wanted to repeal all the legislation that imposed economic controls. Verify by using a duplicate register for comparison. Control an account. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Make certain of. This nest egg will ensure a nice retirement for us. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Make certain of. Protect by insurance. Take out insurance for. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change. Make different. Cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Insert words into texts, often falsifying it thereby. Cause to change. Make different. Cause a transformation. The advent of the automobile may have altered the growth pattern of the city. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Remove the ovaries of. Make an alteration to. This dress needs to be altered. Cause to change. Make different. Cause a transformation. Add a modifier to a constituent. Make less severe or harsh or extreme. Please modify this letter to make it more polite. Computer science. A line of code written as part of a computer program. A fact or assertion offered as evidence that something is true. A document showing credits and debits. The act of affirming or asserting or stating something. A message that is stated or declared. A communication, oral or written, setting forth particulars or facts, etc. According to his statement, he was in London on that day. A nonverbal message. A Cadillac makes a statement about who you are. Music. The presentation of a musical theme. The initial statement of the sonata. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. A fact or assertion offered as evidence that something is true. It was a strong argument that his hypothesis was true. A discussion in which reasons are advanced for and against some proposition or proposal. The argument over foreign aid goes on and on. A summary of the subject or plot of a literary work or play or movie. The editor added the argument to the poem. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. They were involved in a violent argument. Computer science. A reference or value that is passed to a function, procedure, subroutine, command, or program. A variable in a logical or mathematical expression whose value determines the dependent variable. If f, x, equals y, x is the independent variable. How much there is or how many there are of something that you can quantify. Add up in number or quantity. The bills amounted to $2,000. A quantity of money. The amount he had in cash was insufficient. A quantity obtained by the addition of a group of numbers. Develop into. This idea will never amount to anything. Be tantamount or equivalent to. Her action amounted to a rebellion. The relative magnitude of something with reference to a criterion. An adequate amount of food for 4 people. A statute in draft before it becomes law. How much there is or how many there are of something that you can quantify. A basis for comparison. A reference point against which other things can be evaluated. They set the measure for all subsequent work. Any maneuver made as part of progress toward a goal. The situation called for strong measures. Determine the measurements of something or somebody, take measurements of. The act or process of assigning numbers to phenomena according to a rule. The measurements were carefully done. Express as a number or measure or quantity. Prosody. The accent in a metrical foot of verse. Measuring instrument having a sequence of marks at regular intervals, used as a reference in making measurements. Musical notation for a repeating pattern of musical beats. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. A container of some standard capacity that is used to obtain fixed amounts of a substance. Have certain dimensions. This table surfaces measures 20 inches by 36 inches. How much there is or how many there are of something that you can quantify. An adequate or large amount. He had a quantity of ammunition. The concept that something has a magnitude and can be represented in mathematical expressions by a constant or a variable.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.